Welcome back to the Crypto Fitness channel. My name is Jay, aka a pure Hexcobar, and I am in the Telegram chat of the Pulsex group. If you have any questions about Pulsex, Pulse, or Hex, feel free to comment in the chat and I will either answer them for you or find them out via the Telegram. So, earlier I was talking with Papa Boner, this guy right here. He is like the security guru of the Pulsex community. And really, if you have any questions about security or whatnot, he's the guy to ask. He has a couple YouTube videos. You can go check those out on how to set up your Trezor wallet or Ledger wallet so that you can protect your crypto. And he recommends getting 2 Trezor wallets so that you can basically diversify your crypto holdings. So that way it's more secure and you can designate, one of those wallets to never ever touch, anything electronic, and the other one you can use kind of as a bridge, and using the MetaMask user interface as just like a front end for your crypto, rather than having to use everything on MetaMask or other hot wallets, or Lord forbid, leaving your crypto on an exchange is the most risky, is to make sure that you're protecting your crypto assets. So that is the good advice that Papa Boner gives and the community gives in the Hex community. So I'm just finishing up my latest video on ladder snowballs. If you don't know what that is, a regular staking ladder is essentially when you stake your Hex for 15 years, 5555, and then you consecutively stake 1 year lower each. It's just basically 1 year stakes all the way up to 15 years. So you stake it for 1 year, 365. You stake it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7, all the way up to 15. So essentially you have 15 stakes going on at one time. And the idea behind a snowball ladder is to do that more frequently. And I'm going to share that exact strategy with you probably when I record the video tomorrow, and then I'll be editing probably all day tomorrow, and I'll probably be releasing it come Monday morning so that you can all watch it. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, other than that, this is just going to be a chill stream. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And of course, subscribe and give me a like and follow so that we can onboard more Pulsicans and more Hexicans, of course, so that you can pump your own bags as well. Because obviously you have a vested interest in this too, so as do I. And PulseChain is going to be an incredible platform for years to come. I think it's going to be one of the big ETH killers. We haven't seen Ethereum forked before. We haven't seen these chains being forked with a lot of users. So because Ethereum has high network effect, essentially we are forking, or I should say Richard Hart is forking the Ethereum chain and creating PulseChain with minimal fees to make it easy for the little guy like you and me, the small fish, to trade, to use NFTs, to buy and sell NFTs, to use DeFi platforms, to yield farm without insane gas fees on Ethereum, where we can't even participate because we've got these whales and we've got a lot of liquidity in the Ethereum ecosystem. And really, if you're a whale, you don't really care about those fees. But when you're a small guy, those fees, especially if you're doing something like a staking ladder on Hex, it just doesn't make sense, because you're essentially having to pay gas fee every single time you onboard one of those stakes. So anytime you set a stake for 15 years, for 14 years, each one of those transactions costs gas. Not to mention sending and receiving Ethereum from an exchange and onboarding new fresh powder into your wallet and getting it on even on your hardware wallet, it costs gas. Or if you want to onboard new powder into the PulseChain when it comes out, or Pulsex, so you can yield farm, you have to at least one time go through the Ethereum network essentially to get it on there, until we figure out fiat on ramps and off ramps directly to the PulseChain. Once that happens, it's going to be game over. I think it's going to be game over regardless, but once we get those things in place, as well as like our own native wallet, which I think Richard said it is on his priority list, then it's going to be game over. I mean, it just makes sense because all the users on Ethereum, they're going to go to the PulseChain where the fees are insanely low. And that's going to attract more people. It's a faster network. It's literally, if you can go on the test net right now and test it out yourself and see how fast it is, it's snappy. It's great. Whereas you have other chains like, no offense to Cardano, I actually love Cardano, and I do believe it's going to be here to stay. I think it's going to be another ETH killer. But as of right now, because they don't have their scalability, they're not into, I believe it's the Goguen era or Basho. I think it's Basho or Voltaire. I think it's the Voltaire era in Cardano where you start looking at scalability and scaling up so that you can handle these crazy amounts of transactions. Right now, the Cardano blockchain is very slow. I did a few transactions today. It's very slow. And again, I fully believe in Cardano. I think it's going to be here to stay. I think it's going to be one of the best ones. But that being said, it is slow as of right now. So the PulseChain, once this PulseChain comes out, it's going to really make waves, in my opinion. I think it's going to do a lot of really awesome things. So again, if you haven't looked into Pulse or PulseX or let alone Hex, I believe Hex is going to be the greatest opportunity in the next 10 to 20 to 30 years ever. And obviously PulseChain, a lot of people can understand that better than Hex, but I do not sleep on Hex. Do your research on Hex, read into it, go to hex.com, hexgraphs.com, and hexinfo.io. And you can search for lots of great information about Hex that you can learn about it. I will be releasing a few videos about it. I already have videos about it. You can go check out. You can go to my playlists tab and search Hex, and you can see some of the videos that I've made there on Hex. Most of those are just technical analysis, but I do believe there's one or two that I actually explain a little bit how it works. But again, do your own research. This is not financial advice. But again, you don't want to miss the boat. I'll just say that, because it's one of those things where you'll look back and you're like, damn it, why didn't I just spend a little bit of money to get into some of these projects? You know, you could ideally, really, you could spend a couple $100 and turn that into tens of thousands of dollars over the course of a decade in this ecosystem. I fully believe that PulseChain, PulseX, and I even believe Hex can do another 10,000x. When it comes out on the PulseChain, it's going to pretty much be in price discovery. It's not going to be paired with where eHex is trading currently. Hex right now is trading, I believe, at 18.5 cents or so, or 19 cents.
Question. I'm trying to onboard my friend. He's using an Apple.
Let me answer this guy.
Mac computer. Which search engine should we be using to download MetaMask?
I use Chrome.
Firefox is good too.
It's saying your connection is not private though.
In Chrome.
In Chrome.
Connection's not private, or your network is not private?
It reads, your connection is not private. Attackers might be able to steal your information from metamask.io.
Sounds like that could be your network.
Well, yeah, the network I'm using is a Telstra network, and it needs a password to be able to log in.
You can go with Firefox. I mean, if you want, it doesn't really matter.
Try Firefox.
I mean, either way, if you're trying to like do everything the right way, the best way is to obviously have your crypto on hard wallets, cold storage, right? So it really doesn't matter what browser you have your MetaMask on, assuming that you're going to put your crypto on those cold storage wallets, because you're just using MetaMask.
On the hard wallet.
Okay, so then it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
if
because
you
you're
want a
gonna
hard wallet.
you're gonna use MetaMask as just like the front end, right?
Yeah, that's true. But it's not allowing us to load up MetaMask because it's going your connection is not private.
So try
shall
it.
we
So try it in
try,
Firefox.
Yep.
Anyway,
Okay. He's gonna have to download the Firefox search engine, I think. Is that right, Matt?
I think so. I'm just wondering if I need to. I've got it on there already.
I've never had problems with Chrome. I've never seen that message that you guys are getting either. So, but that's just me.
I agree with that. It's strange. It's normally Chrome straightforward. Doesn't really give you that warning. It's a bit odd.
Thank you for that, guys.
I'll try Firefox.
Anyway, so what I was saying is, yeah, if you haven't looked into Hex, you highly should. It's I personally I believe that these things can do another 10,000 X, because Hex right now, eHex, it's only trading. I mean, let's take a look at it. So eHex right now, it's trading at 18 cents and 18, a little over 18 cents. Well, actually, let me go to like the hourly chart and see. 19 cents. All right, so we have a little bit of a pump. So Hex is trading at 19 cents right now, but that's eHex right now, and that's before the fork. That's the thing you got to remember. This is before the fork, and Hex on the PulseChain is not going to be correlated with eHex on the Ethereum chain. They're going to be decoupled at first until they can find some foundation. Once they find that foundation, then they will be tied together. And then Hart's Law says that basically, I can't remember exactly what Hart's Law is, but he's basically saying that the price movement of both assets is in direct correlation with the amount of liquidity and the pair bonding. So because eHex and Hex on the Pulse chain are going to be bonded together with by liquidity on the Uniswap, or not Uniswap, the Pulsex decentralized exchange, eventually the Ethereum Hex and regular Hex, Pulsex, are going to find that price action that moves together, that coupled price action. But at first, it's going to be very, very volatile.
Forgot to ask.
Let me answer this guy.
How much does it cost to end a stake?
No, I don't know the answer to that. So anyway, that's the thing about the Hex is because it's going to be new price discovery with Hex on the Pulse chain.
Each day is another computation.
In my opinion, I think that it could do another 10,000x, even though there's people staking already. And then on top of that, the amount of liquidity that's going to come into PulseX. And then on top of that, the people who are going to want to stake on the Pulse chain with their Hex and create a bunch of staking ladders is going to increase the total supply of Hex that is staked.
But let's say
So
to put one
because of that, I mean, nobody knew with Bitcoin, for example, nobody knew how long or how many X's Bitcoin was going to do back when you could buy it in 2010, 2009, or 2008.
Well, mine wasn't.
People just bought it and held it, right? And nobody knew that it was going to do a 6.9 million percent gain.
And the daily rate at which
It's like a 600,000 X or something like that. Nobody knew that it was going to do that. So, in my opinion, Hex is the next thing in crypto and is going to be that thing that does that insane, where like only the holders are the ones who benefit the most. And that's why it's like it rewards you for holding the asset. Like there's no other asset that does that. It's phenomenal. So again, that's why I say, even though the price action on this Hex right here, the Ethereum Hex, could dump, theoretically, I think this could dump. I think it could dump. I mean, we could see, a penny, maybe even.
So once
How big of a fall would that be?
let's say I initiate
80,
the
90%?
stake
Yeah,
now
maybe
for
not that
passive
far, but
fees,
maybe like, you know,
and when the
Yep.
3 to
first
5 cent
token
hex,
launches,
I
will
think
have
is
the
definitely in the
copy, and
cards.
copy on the
Maybe
other
even down to
side
3,
will be
yeah, 3 cent
already
hex. I
staked
think is definitely in the
forever,
cards once the pull chain comes out. I think there's going to be a lot of people selling who want to get out of
But
EHEX
to
or
end the
trading
stake
EHEX for
on the
PHEX,
PulseChain side
and then wanting to do liquidity,
be
providing liquidity and yield
very,
farming.
very little.
You do have some
And
people that are staking, right? And you're going to get your copies of your stakes.
fees are very cheap
But
over there.
and I'm one of those people. I
And
have
in
my
3
stake on
years,
Ethereum, but I just have
I'm
one
just saying
stake.
in 3 years, if you end the stake in 3
But
years
the thing is,
on the Ethereum side,
I'm not going to touch mine. I'm just
You
going
don't
to
know
leave
what
it
the fee
because I
structure's
think
gonna be
at
in
some
3
point
years.
both of these
It could be
hexes,
more than it
EHEX
is
and
now, it
PHEX,
could be
are
the
going to
same,
be
it could
coupled
be one
together,
less. Maybe they
and they'll go up
they
in
figure
unison
out-
at some point. They're going to find
figure
a
out a way
floor
to
at
make
some
it cheap
point.
again.
Whether that takes a few months, a year, 2 years, who knows?
I can't tell you what's
But
happening
I'm in
in
this
3
for the
years.
long term. So that's
Okay,
the
but
thing
let's
with me
say
is I think this is going to be. I mean, I
let's
think
say now I put the
realistically,
stake
I think we could
today
see $100 hex
and
at some point.
let's
Maybe
say
even $1,000
6
hex at
months
some
or
point.
2 months
I mean,
or
think about how many,
whatever.
oh man, how many,
I put a
that would be
stake of,
fucking insane.
let's say,
$1,000 hex,
8 months.
let's see what
Then
that'd be.
When the how I have to
What is that from
find
here?
a
From where the
stake
price
on
is right now, that'd be
Ethereum chain, or I
a
can do it on
a
PulseChain.
5,400x. That's really not
It
that,
doesn't
like,
matter,
that's
they're gonna
not
be
that
set-
hard to like think about. It's already done
You
at
can aim one
10,000x.
You can, yeah. well,
Another
it'll
5,000x
be copied
is like
over.
really.
If
I
you got
definitely
it
think it could do
before
that. $1,000
the
hex.
goes
I mean,
live,
that's.
it'll be copied over.
I think that's in the cards
But
in the next like
then they
decade,
become separate
right?
entities. So
I'm,
you can
and
end
that's
one
that's
on one
exactly the way I'm
side,
looking at this.
keep
I'm looking
going
at this
the other
for the long
side,
term,
or
which is why
do
I'm so
whatever you
bullish
like.
right now. I'm so
Early
excited
stake it,
to change my financial future by
whatever
getting
you
in
wanna
something
do.
early now
It
and
won't affect
being
one-
able to just
it won't
hold it and
affect
getting
one, won't
rewarded
affect
to hold
the
it. That's what I'm super excited
Okay.
about. Like
I
I can,
have-
my money's making
no
money
point
for
of
me while I
concept.
sleep. That's why I love Hex.
It is.
You know, another let's see, another 10,000. If Hex
So,
does another
say-
10,000x
say-
from the current
say
prices,
Hex goes up
let's see, 1,
20
2,
times. Yeah,
that's
beauty, and
that's
it's worth
100.
a lot on the
100,000x. That's too
PulseChain
much.
side of things. You could early end stake it after half a stake's
So
gone. and get your initial
10,000x,
investment
there's-
back and
there it
make a
is.
Killing.
Shit.
Or you could do it on both sides, or you can do it on no sides. It's up to you. But there's no
10,000
for one to
right
affect the other. In any
there.
way, shape, or
Bam.
form.
That'd be $182 Hex. I mean,
Well,
I
depending,
I can see that happening. I can see that happening. I really, really can. And it just like makes me so bullish. Like I don't think that's unreasonable.
Everything there.
Be-
But maybe let's say
You do know that if you early end stake, there's going to be
Anyway,
a
If
penalty.
you have any questions, feel free to comment down below.
After I do it,
If you have a question about Hex, if you have a question about anything PulseX or Hex related, happy to answer any questions.
Then after that, according to the situation, maybe
Oof,
bridge it.
my back hurts.
That's great. Very nice information. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Just think of them as two separate entities, completely divorced from each other. That's all you got to do.
And this with all tokens, right? Now in the PulseX, if I would bridge the Hex I have on Ethereum to Pulse, and then I can do a pair, there will be
Satoshi Hexamoto, that's funny.
probably there
I like that.
a pair of E-Hex and Hex, right? For LP farming.
Didn't quite get the question.
When mainnet launches, PulseX will have the farm, right? Yield farming with pairs.
Yes.
That's the word. That's the word on the street. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe it's possible to bridge Hex that would become E-Hex, right? On Pulse network, then do put to farm E-Hex with Hex, and then would eventually generate the token that does not have a name yet, right?
That's correct.
It would be wrapped Hex. You have to wrap it to bring it over from
Okay,
Ethereum to
right.
Pulse.
It's going to be eHex
Same.
and pHex, and you can yield farm both of those assets. But you have to bring over your eHex. If you're not staking, you're going to get copies of all your eHex as pHex on the Pulsex exchange. Once you have those there, then you can yield farm them if you choose. If you do yield farm them, you will earn rewards, and you'll earn a percentage of the transactions as well as the incentive token, which we really don't know a lot about yet.
I thought it was just the incentive token, not only the. Okay. No, the transactions is for staking Pulsex. No.
No, the
the
transactions
debate?
fees is when you bring over your liquidity and you pair them together as pHex and eHex, for example. But you can do that with lots of different pairs.
Yes.
And if you provide that liquidity, you'll earn a small percentage of the transaction fee.
Okay. Will be the another mechanics to generate eventually yield with the Pulsex token apart from that?
Richard Hart says he's like debating being able to stake Pulsex, but as of right now, there's nothing else you can do.
Okay. Nice. And another question: do you think it's much better? I think to stake hacks, even on Ethereum chain or Pulse network, instead of providing liquidity with hacks, right? It's like, I mean, instead of earning, let's say, using that word, I don't know, it's not correct word, but the incentive token is better to be generating more pure hacks, right? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways
I
you can
mean,
play
without
that. There's a lot of different things you can do. I mean, you can do all of them, right? That's what I'm planning on doing, because I do want any token created by Richard Hart personally. So I do want some incentive token. The problem with yield farming is you have to now consider impermanent loss. So you have to decide for yourself whether you want to take that risk, because you are at risk at losing some of your coins. As far as staking hex goes, that is, in my opinion, the greatest way to get wealthy in the long term, because you can compound your hex both vertically and horizontally if you do it right.
Yes. Yeah, probably I think it's, I prefer like to have the incentive token, to do it with other ERC20s I already have, that, so getting the copy and playing with that. But hacks specifically, maybe I would just stake, but I don't know. Let's see.
Do you have any stakes already?
No, stakes I don't have. I'm studying with stake now. I want to do it. I did the sacrifices, but stake I never did it.
If you stake your hex now, you will get a copy of that on the PulseChain as well, even if it's staked.
Great. Do you think it's already nice to put like 2 years to start? Or?
There's people who have already staked for 5.555. Personally, I have a stake for 10 years already.
Wow, that's great, man. Well, I know that I kind of should think about that. It's like 15 years, right?
Yeah, that's the longest. 5,555 days. It's a little longer than 15 years, but essentially 15 years.
It's massive. I'm gonna think about that, but thanks, man.
Hey guys, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Your thoughts on, I probably already know the answer, but I think it's just to clarify, like why it's such a risk. If you don't, for example, have Pulse at the moment, you did sacrifice the Pulse, you really want some, like as early as you can. like those first 2 days, why do you guys see it? Or from what I hear, it's quite a risk if you're wanting to do a quick swap to earn some pulse. Is it because of like just the ratios and stuff? Can someone elaborate a bit on that?
So the speculation is that a lot of people sacked a lot more Pulsex because they missed out on the PulseChain. So a lot of people, from what I've heard and from what a lot of people have talked about, they want to exchange some of their PulseX for PulseChain once the pairs come out, once the chain's released. Problem with that is that the ratios could be skewed. There's no USD value tied to them, so it doesn't. Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want, of course. I'm not giving any financial advice. I'm just saying that there is a lot of speculation that there will be people swapping Pulse X for Pulse. Personally, I'm not going to. I'm going to wait, and then in my opinion, the better strategy would be to, and a lot of the admins, Mandalorian, I got this from Mandalorian. He's the one I heard this from. Is basically taking your free copies of any ERC20 tokens that you're going to get, because you're going to get copies of all your ERC20s on the PulseChain. Because you got those for free, why not throw those into Pulse, right? If you want Pulse, if you didn't get Pulse and you're trying to get some, it makes more sense to use the free copies that you're going to get and just swap those into Pulse, because those pairs, once they come on the chain, they might have higher liquidity depending on what you're swapping, but because there's going to be so much demand for people swapping PulseX into Pulse, that's going to skew the ratio of that specific pool, and you could be getting a shit rate. Whereas if you just take the ERC20 copies, the PRC20 copy, and you swap that for Pulse, the ratio is not going to be as bad.
Yes, and that's what I've heard as well. I thought I already kind of knew it, but I just wanted to kind of ask, because that's the mindset anyway for me, the game plan. But even that, with your free copies of your other like PRC20 copies, is that still not a risk? But it probably doesn't matter because you're getting them for free, I guess. You're getting free tokens on that chain to then swap, as long as you can at least get some pulse.
Yeah, I mean, why would you care? Why would you care that if you're ultimately going to get 1,000x or 10,000x, which a lot of us speculate PulseChain and PulseX and Hex will do, then why does it matter if you're using your free PRC20s and maybe losing a couple X if the price dips? Like, why do you care? Because you got the PRC20s for free. So that's why it makes a lot more sense to do that. Whereas if you swap directly from PulseX, you have something to lose, because PulseX could be very, 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 very valuable.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, if your mindset if your mindset is to hold Hex, PulseX, and Pulse, I mean, you wouldn't really want to. Well, I wouldn't want to, I guess, swap or throw any of what I've got at the moment. You know what I mean? I'd probably use any other free token that I get with what I hold in my Ethereum side. So. Yeah, I thought I'd ask, but appreciate the clarification.
No problem.
One of the things too, if you hold a lot of ETH, or at least some ETH, a couple ETH, you're better off reducing your ETH down to as low as possible before the fork, enough to get Pulse if you don't have any Pulse, but then the rest of it can go into a ERC coin that's somewhat stable for a couple days. And once you realize when the what time frame the fork will be over, and be able to get those free copies over, and then flip it back to ETH on the ERC side if you want to, if you like ETH and you want to keep it.
I see. Yeah, thanks. Because that's what I heard. Like the larger you hold like ETH before the fork, it gets diluted. Is that why? If you were to hold a lot,
correct. If you have two ETH, you get 2 Pulse, which is nothing. So if you have 2 ETH, you might as well keep 0.1 ETH just to have the forked over Pulse, which would be enough to make swaps. But then put the 1.9 into something else, so they can get forked over. It just gives you more
Yep.
potential value, not money
Yep,
value.
that makes
just
sense.
Coin value.
Yes, yeah. Just
And then swap 100% of that to Pulse at whatever rate it may be. You'll try to get a good rate, but they're free tokens anyway.
that's right. Yeah. Just to have enough ETH for like just transactions and stuff like that. You don't need a lot. But
Correct.
Yeah, that's fine.
0.1 is more than enough.
Nice. That's nice. All right, sweet. Cheers.
Some good questions. If anybody has any questions in the chat, feel free to ask. Questions,
In fact,
comments, or
don't be
concerns.
surprised. At least I'm not counting on it, but I'm forecasting what I'm doing. I sacrifice a good amount in Pulsex. I have a little bit of Pulse because I sacrificed late just to get a little bit of Pulse. But I have really, in essence, no Pulse. I have a nice, big bag of hex that I'm starting to accumulate now that the price is down. But one of the things that you got to look at is the oh god, hold on, lost my train of thought here. The you don't want to. Oh, sorry. I'm forecasting right now that, at least from my own end, is that the Pulsex may actually dip on whatever starting price he has during the first few days or even first weeks, as a lot of Pulsex Pulse.
Yeah. Yes.
So and when that dip starts happening, people are going to start selling off. Those that don't have paper hands will start selling off, which may dip it even more. So that's another thing you want to make sure that you have the mentality of hold no matter what. So if you already sacrifice your mind or put your mind at ease that it may go down a little bit, then you're less chance to sell than if it starts going down 10, 15, 20, 30%, and then you start selling it and say, what the heck, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it could be a good opportunity to get in anyway when there's that major dip as well.
Right.
Just DCA more.
Correct.
That's it. Good mindset, fellas. You're golden.
Yeah, as long as you can hold all three in whatever maximum amount that you can afford to lose, but as long as you have all three of them at the maximum amount that you can, then that gives you just 3 chances on making a big win. If over long term, you got Hex, Pulse X, and Pulse.
4 if you include the incentive token.
No, that's true too. Yeah, and 2 sides of Hex too.
What's the incentive token? Is that just the other side of X? Is that what's that?
It's the token that you're going to earn if you yield farm. If you provide liquidity on the Pulsex exchange, then you earn the incentive token.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yeah, myself never yield farm, so I'm a little hesitant in doing it.
Yeah, I've heard it too, so I'm not. It's probably
There's risk to it, but it's lower risk than leverage trading. I'll tell you that.
No, of course.
Alright, fellas, I'll be back.
I'm not going to try and mention a shit coin, but if you're sacking for PulseChain, if you sack for PulseChain, there's going to be an airdrop for you as well of another token, a third-party token.
Is that a question?
Nope, it's a statement. I just found out yesterday. Some third party, they're going to airdrop their token to people who have sacked for PulseChain. I'm not going to mention the name.
Yeah, just be very careful with that. Be very careful with any airdrops that you get.
Exactly. I think there's like 2 others that I know of as well. various for us for hexagons and various. There's going to be a few others.
Yeah, I'm in the mindset that if I get any free airdrops from anything outside of the Richard Hart projects, I'm leaving it there and not even touching it, not even trying to open it, anything, unless, you know, there's either confirmation on the Richard Hart side or
That's
a lot
it.
of people have got on it.
That's just it. You can have it and wait for it to be verified safe.
Right.
Fuck around
You
with
can
it.
do your own research. I mean, like, Richard Hart's not going to shill any of their projects. Like, he's made that very clear. So, but at the same time, like, there needs to be ecosystem in the Pulse chain, right? Like, so personally, I'm not saying that I'm going to accept those airdrops. What I am saying is that if I see an airdrop that's given to me, I'll look into the company and do my own research and see if it's a good project, because I do think there's going to be a lot of good projects coming to the Pulse chain. So, and you know, some of those projects may give out free airdrops. Could be a good opportunity. But you got to make sure you do your own research on them.
Mate, my entire Pulse chain sacrifice is made up in airdrops. And it was like thousands and thousands of dollars. I just never cashed them in. And I thought, well, here's what I can do with them. I shove them in here. And by the time I'd tied them all together, it was a lot of money. Just gathered them over the years.
What potential risk could an airdrop propose there to the people?
Was that a question?
Yeah, I was just asking because you said like if a third party done an airdrop, just leave it there because you don't know what risk it can have. What potential risk can it pose?
Depends how you interact with their smart contract. Say you might be giving a permission that you think is going to do one thing, but the permission will actually be for them to sweep your wallet of anything of value.
It's called dusting.
That's been done before.
They can basically get in your
Yeah.
wallet and steal your shit.
Look, I looked at one wallet the other day. It had like, I don't know, $1.5 million worth of stuff that I didn't know about on the face of it. But you look into each and every one of them, and they all had a warning attached to them. This is a possible attack vector, blah, 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 blah. So I never touched any of them. But you look at their dollar value, when you add up, it's like over $1 million. I said, no, this can't be right. No one's giving away that much money. Not a chance.
Okay, that's good to know. Never thought about that.
Just look up, if you find dust like that, it's got some weird name you've never heard of before, just look it up. Look it up. Run its ticker through CMC or something like that and see what it says about it. You'll soon find out whether it's a shitcoin or not.
I haven't made a TikTok video in a while. I need to get back on my TikTok grind. I wonder how many videos I've posted so far. I wonder if it tells you somewhere. I think I posted at least like 75 videos on TikTok, maybe. Something like that. but definitely got to get back into it. Haven't posted in like a month on TikTok. I'm getting hungry. I usually don't eat at night, but it's a Saturday, and I've earned it this week, working out hard. Wonder if Hex Radio is streaming. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, they are. I'm streaming his stream. It's funny. Let's see what he's got here. 5555 US tour. It's interesting. Where are they going? Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, New York, Washington. I wonder if that's DC. Looks like DC. Vegas, Phoenix. They coming to Seattle anytime soon? Nah, doesn't look like it. So the next one is 128. That's a couple days ago in Dallas. 2-4 in Austin. All right, I'm going to cut the stream here. So be sure to subscribe to the Crypto Fitness channel. Again, I've got my ladder snowball video coming out probably tomorrow or Monday. If you don't know what a ladder snowball is, I'll explain. Basically, it's a ladder, a hex staking ladder on steroids, and I'll tell you why it's the most optimized way to stake your hex. So keep an eye out for that. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss when it comes out. It's going to be a good one. I'm in the middle of the finishing up the presentation now, so it'll be up on my YouTube channel probably Monday morning, more or less. Gotta edit the video tomorrow and stuff. So be sure to stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, comment down below, and I will see y'all later.